하정우 센터장을 모시고 그들의 도전과 영감을 나누는 자리를 가집니다.
Joining us is Dr. Kim Ji-yoon, the first South Korean to interview former President Barack Obama. Are you curious about AI trends? Ha Jung-woo, Director of Naver Cloud AI Innovation, will join us also.
11월 24일 금요일 오후 2시 백스코에서 펼쳐질 2023 BFM 부산영어방송 드림 콘서트 부산영어방송 실시간 유튜브 링크로도 볼 수 있습니다. 신청 및 자세한 내용은 부산영어방송 홈페이지를 확인하세요. 이 행사는 BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
The time is now 2 o'clock.
Welcome to BFM News at 2. I'm Haeyeon Park. Tensions are rising between the ruling and main opposition parties over impeachment motions targeting the head of the Korea Communications Commission and 2 prosecutors. The 72-hour voting window for the impeachment motion is practically impossible, leading to a fierce battle over the interpretation of parliamentary law on its later handling. A key dispute is whether the Democratic Party, which proposed the motions, can withdraw them voluntarily, sparking conflicting interpretations. National Assembly Speaker Kim Jin-pyo insists on bipartisan agreement for a plenary session, but with little chance of consensus and Kim's upcoming overseas visit, it is unlikely the session will convene before the 72-hour deadline on the 12th. Failure to vote by then will result in the automatic discard of the impeachment motion. International investors continued their trend of withdrawing from the South Korean stock market for the third consecutive month in October, selling off $2.2 billion in stocks. According to Bank of Korea, concerns over the Israel-Hamas conflict has heightened risk aversion following sell-offs of $1.3 billion in September and $910 million in August. In addition, foreign investors sold $580 million in South Korean bonds in October, which is a significant increase from the $100 million in September. This marks the most significant foreign divestment since April of 2022, when sales totaled $3.8 billion. Author Han Gang has won a prestigious French literary award for her novel, I Do Not Bid Farewell. The 2021 book was named the winner of the Prix Médicis Award in the Foreign Literature category. The Prix Médicis was founded in 1958 and is among the top literary awards honoring works of fiction in France. In the novel, I Do Not Bid Farewell, the 1948 civilian massacre on South Korea's Jeju Island unfolds through the eyes of 3 women. Shifting gears to local news. Busan's public delivery app 동백통 is facing suspension due to uncertainty over next year's budget. According to Busan City, the 1.4 billion won budget for 동백통's operation and promotion expenses this year has not been included in next year's budget. Busan City has invested 4.4 billion won so far in building the 동백통 app that serves local small businesses and has nearly reached its goal of 12,000 affiliated stores. However, unless the City Council revives the budget, the operation of the local delivery app, which launched 2 years ago, will virtually be impossible. Busan City will host the Turn Toward Busan Remembrance Ceremony to honor UN war veterans of the Korean War. Taking place tomorrow morning at the UN Memorial Park, the event will include a visit to the graves of General Richard Wickham and Lieutenant Colonel Charles Green, followed by a minute of silence at 11 a.m. to commemorate the sacrifices of those from 22 UN member countries. Tomorrow, the remains of 6 Colombian and British veterans who served in the Korean War will be buried at the UN Memorial Cemetery as well. This is the first time Colombian veterans' remains will be laid to rest at the cemetery. In international news, Israel has agreed to 4-hour military pauses in northern Gaza each day to allow civilians to evacuate. The move also aims to facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid and support for hostage releases. U.S. National Security Council Coordinator John Kirby stressed the necessity of ongoing pauses, and President Biden called it a step in the right direction. Now for the local weather. It's currently 17 degrees Celsius amid partly cloudy skies in Busan. Temperatures will be dropping significantly tonight, falling all the way down to 5 degrees Celsius. That'll do it for this hour's news. Thank you for joining. You're listening to BEFM 부산영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Coming up next is Steve Hatherly Reboot. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
What you're about to hear is amazing. That's because you're locked in to Busan's #1 English radio station. Whether you're at home, at work, or driving in your car, you will be exposed to radio excellence. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show because it starts right now.
I talk about it a lot, don't I? Language is fascinating to me. How we express ourselves as people never ceases to amaze me. We choose the perfect word for the perfect moment to convey to our listener exactly the message that we want to send. But what I had never thought about until yesterday is how quickly we can convey that message. So today, we will have a look at some of the fastest spoken languages from around the world. It's Friday, November 10th, 2023. I'm Steve Hatherly. This is Steve Hatherly Reboot. Let's go. That was fun. That was Will Joseph Cook, Nobody's Home. And in the beginning of the song, that was very clever. He starts singing in French, and that leads us to believe that he speaks French. But then he very quickly says, I thought I'd make you think that I could speak French, but I don't. The French at the beginning of the song translates to thank you, goodbye. Meet up with me. I ride a yellow bicycle and dance in the park. Doesn't really make sense, right? But it sounds so good when spoken in French. And then at the end of the song, he said it again, merci, merci, au revoir. Thank you, goodbye. Pretty clever. Will Joseph Cook is one of the UK's brightest young talents. He's still just 23 years old, and he's been developing his uniquely multidimensional songwriting skills since he was 14 years old. From singing his first record deal aged 17 to releasing his debut record in 2017 in a follow-up EP. Just 6 months after that, Will took some time away from music to go traveling after a few hectic years, and this gave him some needed time to reset before settling back down to write the batch of tunes that form his second album. Sounds like he's got a bright musical future ahead of him, and he got us going today. I am live in the studio from Busan on this Friday afternoon. Welcome to the show, everyone. You're tuned in on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jongguan, and Noksan areas. In Seoul on TBS EFM 101.3 and in Gwangju on GFN 98.7. Thank you very much for being with me to round out your week. I hope you're having a delightful Friday afternoon. Any fun Friday evening plans? You know, I haven't had Friday chicken day in quite some time because of my quote-unquote diet, which is quote-unquote finished. I'm not doing that anymore. You know, I knew I wouldn't. I knew that I wouldn't. It was just for a period of time. Do you know what I mean? Like for a period of time, you just kind of want to clean things up a little bit. Well, that time is concluded, and I'll tell you why. I told you about the rotisserie chicken truck I found on Tuesday at the corner of my the four-way intersection next to my apartment. I was going out to the mart, and I saw him and his wife. He and his wife were there, lovely couple, and I got a couple of chickens. Well, shortly after that, I was driving home from work one day, and I went to the other intersection at the other end of my apartment, and I looked over and a new business, I talked about this on this morning's show as well, a new business had opened, and what was it? A rotisserie chicken restaurant. It's like the universe is telling me not to move. I think that's what's happening here. We're meant to move very soon to our new place in a new neighborhood. I've talked about that on the show. And just when that happens, 2 new chicken restaurants open up near my house. You know, they say life isn't fair, and it's true. But I'll have to search for new chicken restaurants once I move. Anyway, my point is, this show ends at 4 p.m., and you will be able to find my wife and I in that rotisserie chicken restaurant at around 4:20 p.m. Straight after the show today, straight to dinner, hence my good mood on this Friday afternoon. I hope you're in a good mood today as well. Let's get to it. What's on the show today? Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about YouTube. Go over there, YouTube.com, and search BEFM or Busan영어방송 in Korean. You can watch our live stream there. Please do that, and please do subscribe to the channel when you're there. When the songs start to play, they will fade out, and the reason for that is music copyright issues. We apologize for that. It's really inconvenient, we know. So what you need to do at that time is open up your BEFM app to listen to the music, or of course you can listen to the music through FM radio as well, and that's kind of the workaround, if you will. We really hope that that problem resolves itself at some point in the future. But for today and for these days, that's the way it is, and we appreciate your patience and your cooperation there. All right, coming up in the first hour of the show today, We'll start things off with Hot Off the Press. You'll hear some trendy music that has been newly released. I'll give you a little bit about the artist and a little bit about the track as well. After that, around 2:30 or so, Jeff will join me in the studio for this week's Weekend Wanderer. He will get us up to date with all things happening in and around Busan and Seoul. Then in hour number 2, as we flip over to the second hour on this Friday, for our fun fact of the day, we're going to talk about the fastest spoken languages in the world. And this came up on the show yesterday, didn't it? And I forget why it came up on the show. What were we talking about? And it came up and I said, oh, that might be an interesting, I think it was a comment. Someone made a comment on YouTube about how quickly someone was speaking. I think it was from our expression of the day. And Eun-young, our listener in Ottawa, I think made the comment about how quickly that Korean was spoken, because Eun-young said, oh, that's my first language, and even I couldn't catch it the first time around. Koreans speak very, very quickly. And then I made a comment in the group chat, oh, I wonder if there's actually anything to that. Are some languages spoken faster than other languages? And it turns out that, yes, they are. And in fact, I have a list of those spoken languages today. So what are some of the fastest spoken languages from around the world? I'll give you a handful of those today. It's kind of interesting, the science behind it, if you will, if we can call it science. And what I mean by that is how they calculate the speaking speed. They count syllables in a certain amount of time, and they also count the information provided in a certain amount of time. So it's kind of like a mathematical formula. So I'll go over that a bit for our fun fact of the day. And then for Friday Fun Day, since we're talking about speaking quickly, I thought it might be fun to have a look at the world's fastest speaker. And we're going to look at one very specific example. Are you a Shakespeare fan? I am. I'm a big Shakespeare fan. I studied Shakespeare for 4 years in university. My major was not Shakespeare. My major was English literature and writing and poetry. But during those studies, I had the option to study Shakespeare. So I took a Shakespeare class every single year that I was in university. Actually, let me rephrase, every single semester that I was in university, because I really, really liked it. I thought he was a genius, the way that he was able to write stories and make people laugh and come up with such treacherous tales as well. Well, one of the famous speeches from Shakespeare is from Hamlet, right? It's from Hamlet. The to be or not to be, that is the question. That's the speech, right? And it's a lengthy speech. So I've got Kenneth Branagh. I'm going to give you a couple of examples for Friday Fun Day today. I've got a clip from Kenneth Branagh where he's the actor, by the way. And if you haven't seen his version of Hamlet, it's really wonderful. It's very well acted. I mean, if you don't like Shakespeare, you're not going to like it. And also, it's super long. I remember I saw it in the theater, and it had an intermission, meaning a break time. So halfway through the movie, they stopped the movie and said, like, go stretch your legs or, you know, get a snack, get some more popcorn, go to the bathroom or whatever you need to do. Anyway, 3 hours and something, I think it was, which is these days normal, it seems. Anyway, so I've got Kenneth Branagh delivering that speech, and then we're going to hear the fastest speaker in the world delivering that speech as well. So that's a bit of fun for Friday Fun Day today. After that, we'll have Today in Music, where we'll find out what happened in today's music history, and that'll be the show. And of course, I'll check your messages throughout. So here's our question of the day today. And I've asked you about, I was thinking about language and words. And I know I've asked you before, what's your favorite word, or what's your favorite word in a foreign language? So today, related to words, but yet also related to how we are feeling on this Friday, here's my question. What one word best expresses your mood today? If you're having a good day, that's going to be a positive, uplifting, happy word. If you are having a terrible day, it will not. I'm looking forward to seeing the list of words that come in today. What word best expresses your mood this afternoon? You can express that to me, by the way, in any language that you want to. The internet is a wonderful source of translators. 오늘 기분을 가장 잘 표현해주는 단어는 무엇인가요? Text me, #9050. That will cost you 101. Add us on Kakao Talk for free and send messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us some comments after logging in. We'll have a break and come back with today's Hot Off the Press after In Light the Night, the Bright Side. That was Enlight the Night with The Bright Side. And now it's time for today's Hot Off the Press, where from Monday to Friday, that's today, we bring you two of the newest, hottest tracks from the world of music. And a lot of songs are released every week. And we do choose a couple each day that we hope that you'll really enjoy. We'll start today with Normandy, and this track is called Ritual. Normandy have just shared another ace new single from their upcoming album called Dopamine. The Stockholm Trio's latest effort goes by the name Ritual, and according to Philip Strand, it's a song about falling for someone and wanting to promise more than just the time here on Earth. That's a tough promise to make. After that, we'll hear Jamie Webster's new song, Looking Good. Singer and songwriter Jamie Webster says of the upbeat yet poignant album highlight, Looking Good is a song about self-love, self-worth, and self-happiness. It documents how you shouldn't worry about what the latest trends or styles are. Just do what makes you happy with a smile on your face, and you'll be looking better than ever. It also nods towards online abuse I've received and subsequently dealt with in therapy. But now I understand more that these people project their own unhappiness on others, and they'll never have me feeling blue again. Here we go with our two tracks for Hot Off the Press today. Jamie Webster's Looking Good will be the second one, and before that, the brand new tune from Normandy, Ritual. Those were our two tracks for Hot Off the Press today. Jamie Webster's Looking Good, and before that, Normandy's new song called Ritual. My question today is quite simple for you. Here's what I want to know. I'm really curious. What one word best expresses your mood today? 오늘 기분을 가장 잘 표현해주는 단어는 무엇인가요? Cherish says, today I feel ecstatic because aside from the fact that today is Friday and my weekend is waving at me, I like the way you put that, Cherish. My weekend is waving at me. I just received my postcard from myself that I mailed from my recent trip to Thailand. That's really fun. Did you send it to your office, I guess, or maybe to your house? But yeah, a little postcard to yourself is a cute little gift. I like that idea. Vietnam, there's a post office in Vietnam that's really famous for that too. All the tourists do it, right? You go there and then you ship off postcards to whoever you want because it's really cheap, and it's a super old post office as well. I forget all the details, but yeah, it's a thing, right? People like to do it. Thanks for the message, Cherish. And Young says, my mood is one more day to go before the weekend, and for the weekend, I'm going to be watching World War II documentaries to remember our veterans. We are approaching that time of year where we should remember. Yes, I completely agree with you. And yes, it is November 11th tomorrow, an important time of year to remember those who sacrificed their lives so that we can have the freedoms that we have today. All right, that's my question today. Which word best expresses your mood on this Friday? 오늘 기분을 가장 잘 표현해주는 단어는 무엇인가요? Text me #, 9050. That will cost you 101. Add us on Kakao Talk for free and send messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us a comment after logging in. Time to do some weekend wandering, and Jeff's here for that. How you doing this week, Jeff?
Not too bad. It's probably the last warm day of the year, so...
Oh, I didn't see the forecast for the weekend. Is it meant to get really cold?
It's cooling down tonight, and then, it's going to get colder. Seoul already kind of got the cold.
Oh, did it really?
But, yeah, for us, it's still like 17 degrees today.
Yeah, it feels warm outside today.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, actually. We had that little cold snap in the mornings, and then it kind of went away.
Yeah, it's still warm in the afternoon. Like, I had my top down earlier. In my car. So.
Your shirt? Oh. In your car. Yeah, I see. Got it. Yeah.
My shirt.
What one word best describes your mood today, Jeff?
Meh.
Meh?
Meh.
Why meh?
It's just, every day is just, they blend in.
That's not good.
They blend.
That's not good. How do we turn that frown upside down, Jeff? What can we do to fix that? Can I offer you some chocolate sticks?
Yeah, sure.
We'll use that as a segue into your first story.
It's 56 more days, not that I'm counting, that I will be in Thailand.
Oh, 56 more days to go until the next vacation, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the countdown is on. Usually people don't count down from 56 days away, but some people do.
I just remembered what I was going to say, and I'm really glad you brought this up today, because it reminded me, after I left here last week...
Yeah.
And I was driving, you had told these stories about language.
Yes.
And especially about French and Korean. And I 100% agree with you because I do the exact same thing.
I was talking about how sometimes I'll try to think of a French word and I can only think of the Korean word. Yeah, that happens to you too?
All the time.
Really?
And so actually when I was in Bangkok this summer, at the hotel, there was a couple people from Belgium. And so we'd go to the pool every day and then you kind of see the same people and it's always like, hello, bonjour, something like that. And so the one morning I walked up to the pool and I was still not really all there yet.
Not
in the
awake
morning.
yet, yeah.
And so they asked me like, oh, how are you today? I was like, oh, je suis nomu fatigué. That's like, what did I just say? Instead of saying très fatigué, which is, I mean, I'm very, very tired,
Yeah.
was nomu nomu.
You put nomu nomu in
Nomu
place
nomu
of tre
fatigue.
tre. Oh, that's funny. It's funny, though, isn't it? I mean, that's what happens to our brains. We get jumbled with all the information that we have inside.
I do that all the time with French and Korean.
Oh, that's
all
a
the
cute-
time.
that's
And
a-
I'm glad you brought that up.
It's a cute story. All right, let's get into it, Jeff. It's time to get us up to date on all things happening in and around Busan and perhaps a little bit from Seoul as well. So, yeah, I mentioned it already. It's tomorrow, right? It's Chocolate Stick Day here in Korea.
Yeah, so yeah, we're not going to say the name, but we'll just go with chocolate stick, and I hope I get through this story without saying it.
that. Yeah.
So there's actually some interesting facts about Chocolate Stick Day. So I've got 5 interesting facts, and we actually run this on our magazine every year because I think it's kind of interesting, and it's always same with White Day. There's also some traditions. So let's look at these ones.
Okay.
What time should they be given out?
Is there a specific time that these chocolate sticks should be given out? I thought you just give them at any time during the day.
You can, but the best time, preferably, is at 11:11 in the morning. And with 11 seconds, you're really working it. So the myth of this is that it's going to make the person skinny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'd never heard that part before.
Keep listening.
Okay, got
So,
it.
number 2, 30% of the sales of this product are sold this week for the year.
For the whole year.
Yeah.
Oh. Where does this come from?
And this is number 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, the chocolate stick lore, that it's actually started in Busan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the story is in 1994, a group of middle school girls gave the snacks to each other in hopes of becoming skinny. This is not a verified story, but this is the one that gets the most credence in Korean media.
Because the chocolate sticks are very thin.
Yeah, so like legs.
So that's the whole idea behind this. I want to use the word holiday, but it's not a holiday. It's just a day.
Yeah, that's the lore.
The whole idea behind this is so that everyone can be thin.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
And so Japan's version of the chocolate stick, which is also a thing, so they do this as well, and this started in 1999. So Busan has a 5-year advantage.
Oh, they probably got their inspiration from Korea.
And they actually have quite a rivalry because the Japanese version actually came out in 1966, and Korea's version came out in 1983.
Oh, okay.
However, Korea claims that they are a copycat of this day that Korea came up with.
Gotcha. So if you want to be on the ball, give your chocolate stick snacks to your romantic partner. Do you give them to everybody, or do you're supposed to give them to your romantic partner?
I think you can give them to anybody. I think maybe people
Coworkers.
don't want to feel left out, so they just give them out to everybody.
Gotcha. So 11 a.m., the 11th minute at the 11th second, and you're really spot on.
Yeah, now I don't know about this one or what if there's a meaning to it, but there's one of them that's called the nude chocolate stick.
Meaning with no chocolate on it?
It's on the inside, not on the outside.
Okay. Kind of like kimbap when they don't put the kim on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Is there any meaning behind that?
No, it's just because there's
version.
no chocolate on the outside, that means it's just the stick, so it's nude.
Gotcha. All right. Well, happy Chocolate Stick Day tomorrow.
We got through it.
Yeah, we can't say the company name because that would be advertising. It's not called Chocolate Stick Day. It's called Pep Day, but we'll leave it at that. All right, let's get to a little bit of news then, shall we?
Okay, so this was a very interesting thing that came out this week was that the city of Busan this has been going on for years, that they've been trying to revitalize the Suyong Yacht Center. However, there's always been a problem with it because of the designs that they actually brought up first.
Okay.
And the biggest problem was always that they wanted to build a hotel right next to the yacht center.
And why was that a big problem?
Because there's a school right next to it, so they don't want a hotel. I mean, the parents from the school complained, and the other people around there complained that they don't want a hotel next to the school zone.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they've done some redeveloping of the plans, and it looks like they're going to maybe restart this, getting into negotiations to get things going, and well, let's see what's going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of new facilities. They've upped the amount of shopping space that's going to be in there. and it looks pretty nice.
So they've gone over their plans and made some adjustments, and this time around it will be without the hotel in the plan. Okay. Any timeline for this, or it's still in its infancy?
Still in its infancy. It looks to get started in 2025 and estimated completion for 2026.
Gotcha. All right, you want to do one more before we take a break?
Yeah, this is actually interesting. So if you're looking for something to do around Christmas, I mean, every year there's always the Nutcracker.
Oh, yes, I've seen the Nutcracker.
Right, I think we talked about that last week as well.
Yeah. Classic at Christmas time, right?
Right, but the Kyiv City Ballet is coming to do a show here. On the 22nd and 23rd at Bexco Auditorium.
Oh, okay. That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be pretty expensive, I would think, yeah?
Tickets, not too bad. They range from 50 to 120,000 won.
Not too bad.
Which you can buy online. And it's open to audience members age 5 or older, and it's a 2-hour performance. Why not? I mean, it's something it makes you feel more Christmassy.
You've seen it before?
The Nutcracker? No, I have not.
Have you
Only on... I've seen it on TV, but I haven't seen like a ballet performance.
You thinking about going this time around?
I'll be too busy.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So there's a couple of stories to get us going today. We'll have a bit of a break, and when we come back, more weekend wandering with our weekend wanderer, Jeff. Here is Omale. Attention. That was Omale with Attention. And today in Weekend Wanderer with Jeff, we're, of course, getting caught up in everything we need to know about the weekend events and some local news as well. This is kind of an exciting development on Yeongdo Island. Something that's going to be opening very soon. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so the Ocean Flying Theme Park along the Taejongdae Coastal Road is scheduled to be somewhat opening, I guess, kind of on the 30th. So what they've done is basically incorporated 2 projects that they had planned, put them into one, and then they're going to be opening up a zip line, a media arts center, and a cafe around Taejongdae, because it's kind of, it's really lost a lot of tourists. I mean, Taejongdae is one of my favorite places in Busan.
That is, Taejongdae is on the island of Yeongdo?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's all like these rocks that are kind of built out, that come out of the water. It's
Like
just a nice walk around, like, park.
Yeah, that's on the east side of the island?
I believe, yes.
Yeah, I think so. We were talking about. I was talking about it with Jimmy on a Wednesday segment, Bring On Busan, where Yeongdo is this huge island, and it's literally right next to Nampodong, right? And then on one side, it's kind of the touristy area, and then on the other side, there's a university over there, and the Busan port is over on that side as well.
Well, Taejongdae used to really be the only thing out there,
okay.
of tourism significance. And then it's really kind of seen a decline in tourists, down about 75% in the last 10 years.
Okay. Well, this should help then.
Yeah, I mean, so they've built out the drive-in theater out there. They've built in, like I said, like all the stuff that's gone along the coast of Yeongdo. And Yeongdo is becoming a really popular place right now.
Okay, so what is this ocean flying theme park? You mentioned there's a zip line that goes from where to where?
Let me see. So it goes from Jeongnisan Mountain across Gamji Beach to the old Taejongdae Old Jayu Land parking lot.
Okay.
And it gives you a really nice view.
Yeah.
If you're going down.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's all
fun.
coast, so it's really nice looking.
Very good. So that, amongst some other things, will be good reasons for people to come and visit the island again then. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not visit the island, because a lot of people are going to the island. They're just not going there. So it's just to kind of get to more people back there. Like, especially during COVID, it really fell off.
Okay.
And then when they do the Hydrangea Festival, which used to be a big draw, but I don't remember if I was doing the show at that time, but it's usually on in May. So every May they have this flower festival, but they've had to basically cancel it the last year because a lot of the flowers died.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, so it's not the island is having a problem with attracting people. It's just one specific area.
Yeah, which used to be the most popular place.
And they're trying to solve that problem. Yeah. All right, let's move on to some events then, shall we?
Okay, the semifinals of the League of Legends is going on this weekend. Today at Bexco, the Humanities World Forum is finishing. Turn towards Busan tomorrow. Again, happening at 11 o'clock at the UN Cemetery. Big event there. This is interesting. Skate Night Busan going on tomorrow.
I saw an advertisement for this in my apartment building for some reason.
Yeah, the city just announced it today, actually, this morning. So it's like a skateboarder, hip-hop, food and culture event.
Oh, you going to be there?
No.
I knew the answer to that.
I cannot get on a skateboard.
Right.
It's going on from 9 to 9 tomorrow.
You've never tried skateboarding before, even in your younger years?
Not really. I maybe stepped on one.
I tried it. I just didn't see the attraction to it. I mean, I know longboarding has become kind of a hip thing for young people to do in Korea, but I just couldn't get into it myself. All right, so that's cool for the skaters then.
Yeah. So,
happening this weekend.
Yeah, moving along, the 2 performances going on. Les Mis, still at the Dream Theater. Sister Act, still at the Sohyang Theater. The Canadian Film Festival. Going on this weekend at the Cinema Center. So 15 films, including major works of Canadian film history and recently released contemporary works in cooperation with TIFF, the Toronto
International Film Festival. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's only available this weekend?
No, so it's going from the 10th to the 15th.
Okay. All right. 5 days to check out 15 Canadian films there.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Guanga League Drone Show. That's always going on, right?
Drone Show, 7 to 9.
Did you go to the fireworks show last weekend?
You know, I actually was not planning to, but they opened up the roof to my apartment. So I had a really great view.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So I just went up a couple of elevator flights, and the rooftop was open. There was about 30 people up there. It was great.
Very good. So the drone show was off last weekend, of course, because of the fireworks show, but it resumes this weekend.
Yeah. So it was it was a really good show this year.
Okay.
That first firework, it was 25, whatever, I forget what not inches, because that doesn't make sense.
25 inches long. That's
But-
not overly impressive.
Yeah, apparently that thing cost 80 million won.
No, for one firework.
It's huge, though.
Goodness me. All right. Anything culture-wise we need to know about?
Pretty much the same things are going on, and we don't have a lot of time, so let's get moving outside of Busan and go into
okay.
Seoul. So this is an interesting event that I got contacted about this week called Anhels. So it's a concert going on tonight at Strange Fruit. I don't know where that is exactly. I think it's in Maple.
Mapo?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, I mean, it used to be in Itaewon, I think. Yeah, that's kind of like a bar performance area.
Yeah, so it actually starts at 11:59 tonight. Mm-hmm. And then there's 4 DJs playing. Sounds like a fun event.
Yeah, Strange Fruit. I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, like underground DJ places, then Strange Fruit is a great place. If you go and visit Seoul, look them up and see which DJs are playing. But it's usually a pretty good time.
Yeah, and then also started yesterday. So the major department store around the country that we'll just say starts with an S.
Shinsei Blank.
Yeah, so they have just illuminated their stores nationwide. And there's
that's a
some
big deal, yeah.
really cool ones, especially the ones in Seoul. So the main one has 3.75 million LED lights.
You're talking about the Christmas lights.
Yes.
Oh, wow. What's the date today? It's the 10th of November.
It started yesterday.
Wow.
And this is going to go on until January 31st. So they're going to do a 3-minute Christmas loop every evening. It sounds really cool.
This is a thing. Like, this is a genuine thing. It sounds like, oh, okay, the department stores put their Christmas lights up. Who cares? But this is a thing that people come to see. People come to the area of Seoul where those department stores are located just so that they can take some pictures, walk around, upload some stuff to their socials. And it's an evening. And it's worth it. It's really beautiful.
So Busan's usually start around mid to late November. The one in Hyundai will usually start around mid to late November. I don't know the dates when they're doing it now yet.
But you said this is nationwide, so this includes the Centum location?
That was the one place they didn't mention. They mentioned everywhere else except the Centum location.
Oh, well, all we have to do is walk down the street, I guess, and find out tonight.
I'm sure they've got something up, though. But, yeah, so Hyundai's stuff will be going up, I imagine, very soon. Then the one in Nampodong will also usually begin sometime in December.
Has the Christmas spirit started to maybe find its way into Jeff's heart?
Well, I was actually at the Swedish store this morning. And, they were cranking the Christmas music.
The Christmas songs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Napidi, when should we play our first Christmas song? That's a good question. Is it too... it's too early. We can't do it yet. It's November 10th. We can't play Christmas music on the show yet.
I don't know. Yeah, you don't. I mean, you can walk into the Byeoldebang and listen to a bunch of Christmas music. I'm sure they've got that going already.
What's a Byeoldebang?
Think about it.
I will, after this song. Thanks, Jeff. I don't have time to work that out on air. But thank you for all of the information. And have yourself a really delightful week, and we shall see you again next time.
All right, take care.
All righty. Stay with us for hour number 2 to finish up the first today. It will be Joel Corey and Becky Hill, History.
We got so much history.
BFM 부산 영어방송.
구 년 전, 한국에서의 새로운 출발을 위해 부산을 처음 찾은 프랭크. 부산의 자연과 사람, 부산에서 누리는 모든 것을 사랑하는 그는 부산의 변함없는 한대에 늘 감탄합니다.
I think that Busan people are actually very, very kind and very welcoming. If I seemed a little lost, there was always someone that was there to ask me if I needed help. They're more seriously friendly than it's very serious. I very seriously want to help you.
부산의 한결같은 모습도 늘 감동을 주지만 이제는 부산의 미래를 꿈꾸며 2030년 부산의 새로운 도약을 기대합니다.
Busan people are very proud of their city. They want to share the city with everyone. If we get the World Expo, it'll really put Busan on a global map.
세계 박람회가 어울리는 도시, 미래를 향한 힘찬 도약. 부산에서 출발한 파도는 이미 세계를 향해 뻗어 나가고 있습니다. 2030 부산 세계 박람회. 부산이 시작하고 대한민국이 함께 이뤄갑니다. 이 캠페인은 지역과 함께하는 든든한 동반자 BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
괜찮아 괜찮아 조금 불편해도 환경을 위해 너무 괜찮아 일회용컵 대신 머그컵 비닐봉지 대신 에코백 물티슈 대신 손수건 우리의 실천 하나하나 모여 세상을 바꿔요 깨끗한 세상 플라스틱 제로 일회용품 제로 함께해서 참 좋은 우리의 시민 불편하더라도
이 캠페인은 부산환경공단이 함께합니다.
김밥가게 박 사장님도 문구점 김 사장님도 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
You're listening to Steve Hatherly Reboot on BEFM 90.5. That was Zara Larsson and David Guetta on My Love. And the Swedish singer here teamed up with the French DJ for the dance track. It came out in September. And Zara described the meaning of the song, sharing that it's about the relationships you have in your life that mean so much to you that you would put everything on them, whether that's a platonic relationship, something with a family member, a lover, or friendship, or whatever it is. We all need someone that just brings you pure joy, because that's what life is all about. Do you have someone like that in your life that brings you? That's a lot of pressure, isn't it? Pure joy. Just 100% of the time, just joy. Nothing but joy all the time. Is anybody capable of that? Pure joy. If you have someone like that in your life who brings you pure joy all day, all night, then good for you. It must be one of Santa's Christmas elves, I would think. Fun tune, dance tune to get us into hour number 2 today. And thank you very much for staying with us as Steve Hatherly Reboot continues on this Friday afternoon. You're tuned in on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jongguan, and Noksan areas in Seoul, on TBS EFM 101.3, and in Gwangju on GFN 98.7. Coming up in hour number 2 of the day, we're going to talk about some of the fastest spoken languages around the world. This came up yesterday on the show when we were doing our expression, and our listener in Ottawa, Eunyoung, said, oh my gosh, I'm a native Korean speaker. It's my first language. And I couldn't even get what the speaker said. She spoke so quickly the first time. And it got me thinking about, well, I wonder which languages, if they've even ever studied this, which languages are the fastest spoken languages in the world? And there are studies conducted on this. It's kind of interesting how they calculate it. It's kind of like a mathematical formula, the way that they came up with, or the way that they calculate how quickly people speak different languages. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit through our fun fact of the day today. After that, for Friday Fun Day, because we're talking about the speed at which people speak, we're going to visit the fastest speaker in the world. Kind of fun. He's kind of annoying, in my opinion. I don't like it when people speak too quickly, to me or to anyone, for that matter. I don't know why it bothers me a little bit, but it does bother me a little bit. Or at least maybe I'm just talking about English, right? Because that's my native language. But yeah, we're going to visit the fastest talker in the world, and we're going to use one very specific example. Shakespeare's famous speech, "To be or not to be?" That is the question. So we're going to listen to a clip from Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. Kenneth Branagh, the wonderful actor, both film and theater, as far as I know. We'll listen to him delivering a part of the speech from the film version, and then we'll check in with the world's fastest talker, and we'll see the difference between Kenneth Branagh and the world's fastest speaker through that example, the "to be or not to be" speech from Shakespeare, from Hamlet. That'll be fun for today's Friday Fun Day. Our question of the day today, this is what I want to know. Which one word best expresses your mood today? 오늘 기분을 가장 잘 표현해주는 단어는 무엇인가요? Na PD, did you think about this yet? Your one word? Maybe you can text me or write it down on a piece of paper. Let's see what some other people are saying. Nur says L-A-Z-Y, lazy today. That's nice. Friday's a good day for a lazy day. I don't know. What's the best day of the week to be lazy? Is it Sunday? Is that a good day to be lazy? Saturday? Friday? I kind of feel like Friday's a good day to be lazy, because then you get your energy back maybe for the weekend if you're planning on doing anything fun outside. I've never thought about that before. Which day of the week? Maybe Monday. It's Monday, back to work day. Everybody's back in the office. Nobody wants to be there. Everybody's in a bad mood. So you can just be lazy on Monday and kind of think of it as a 4-day work week after that. Na PD says, I'm enjoying working today. Well, that's good. And also busy. Yes, he's always busy over there. I don't really know what he does over there for most of the show, but he's always doing something. I just look over from time to time to check on him, make sure he's happy and okay. That's our question today. What word best describes your mood today? 오늘 기분을 가장 잘 표현해주는 단어는 무엇인가요? Text me, #sharp 9050. That will cost you 101. Add us on Kakao Talk for free and send messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us some comments after logging in. All right, our expression today is really simple, actually. But there's a couple of interesting talking points here, I think. So let's get straight into it. This is from King the Land, and I'm becoming increasingly annoyed by this drama. I mean, in the scene where the hotel woman, she goes to the farmland to visit the farmer, and then she, tries to pick some ginseng on the side of a cliff, and then she falls down 5 meters or something, so she can't get back up. And then what does the hotel heir do? He gets the hotel helicopter to come and rescue her. And I'm just like, really? I mean, it's a little bit too much. Is anyone else watching this drama, by the way? I talk about this every day. This is from King the Land. This is from King the Land. But nobody ever comments on this. Am I the only person in Korea watching this drama? There's got to be more people out there. Anyway. This is from King the Land, and what's happening in this scene is two people are talking on the phone, and the assistant to the hotel heir, remember yesterday, Beitai, right? Upset stomach. He's gone into the washroom, and he's in there, and then the hotel heir calls him on the phone. He calls the assistant on the phone, and he's like, are you okay in there? And he said, yep. I'm okay. And he said, all right, take some time off. I'm going to leave now, and you can just, take a week off and rest up. And then the hotel heir hangs up the phone, but he doesn't say goodbye. He just hangs up. And the assistant keeps talking for a second, but he's not talking to anyone because the hotel heir has already hung up the phone. And this is what the assistant says. Okay, spoken very, very quickly. He said, 아이, 끊었구나. 아이고, 혼자 말했네. All right, let's go through this. In the very beginning, we don't need that. And then in the second part, 아이고. Everybody knows 아이고, right? It means like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness. If you're in Korea, you will hear 아이고 about 3 million times a day. So let's focus on this expression first. 2 expressions to learn here. Number 1 being 끊었어 or 끊었구나. Or let's make it even easier. Let's just make it 끊어. Now, this means to hang up the phone. If you put it in the past tense, like, oh, you hung up or he hung up, 끊었구나. Guna is like kind of like you're surprised by it. 끊었어. You hung up. He hung up. But what I wanted to talk about here is that at the end of a telephone conversation in Korean, you can say to the other person when your conversation is finished, you can say, 끊어. Like, okay, I'm going to hang up now, which is different from the way we end it in English, a telephone conversation, right? In English, we don't say, okay, yeah, okay, I'm hanging up now. We don't say that. You'll see it in a movie or a drama if 2 people are fighting. If they're fighting on the phone, one person might say, that's it. Okay, that's fine. I'm hanging up. Like that. But at the end of a normal conversation, we don't usually say, I'm hanging up now. We just say like, okay, bye, have a good day, bye, whatever, right? But we don't say, I'm hanging up now. But in Korean, that's super, ultra common. 끊어. then hang up the phone. Okay, that's our first expression. The second one is 혼자말. 혼자말, he said 혼자말 했네. 혼자말 했네. 혼자 means alone and 말 means talking. So 혼자말, alone talking, or flip it around, talking alone means speaking to yourself. Talking to yourself. So 혼자 말했네. I was talking to myself. 끊었구나. 혼자 말했네. He hung up. I was talking to myself. Here's our talking point for this expression. 혼자 말 means to talk to yourself, but you can use 혼 with other expressions as well. Now, this is new Korean. This is what young people say. 혼술. 술 is alcohol. 혼 means alone. Alone alcohol means drinking by yourself. 혼술. 혼밥. Bap means rice or eating. So 혼밥, alone eating, means eating by yourself. 누구랑 같이 먹고 있어요? 그냥 혼자 있지. 혼밥이야. I'm eating by myself. 혼술, that's not a good thing. Try to limit the amount of times that you do that. Anyway, back to the expression 끊었구나. 혼자 말했네. He hung up. I was talking to myself.
끊었구나. 혼자 말했네.
끊었구나. 혼자 말했네. That's what I try to do. Whenever I practice these things on the show, I always speak them more slowly or slower, but I try to match the speed of the actors, and I just can't do it. It's so hard to do, right? All right, well, that is our expression for today. Anybody commenting on the drama, by the way? I just want to check here. Oh, Nur says, I'm watching this drama. You're not alone watching it. Cherish said, I'm finished watching it, Steve. Hannah says, I finished watching King the Land as well. Yeah. Seems like there are some people out there watching it. I'm not seeing any positive comments about it, though. Am I too critical? Maybe I've been watching it for too long because I watch it part by part by part by part by part. I think that might be part of the issue. All right. Well, I said it's a little bit too early for Christmas music, right? But you know what? It's the 10th of November, everyone. So here's Mariah Carey. All I Want for Christmas Is You. No, it's November 10th. That was a joke planned perfectly by Master Overlord and I. We are not playing Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You on the 10th day of November. Cherish texted and said, hey, we start our Christmas celebrations on September 1st here in the Philippines. Well, I don't. Let's take another musical break, and we'll come back with our fun fact of the day. Here is The Snuts, Somebody Loves You. That was The Snuts, Somebody Loves You, and now it's time for our fun fact of the day. Again, this was inspired by our expression of the day yesterday, how quickly the actress was speaking in the scene, and then Eun-young commented on it saying, I can't even listen to that myself. I can't even catch it myself on the first try or the first go-around, and I'm a native speaker of Korean. So immediately I typed in the group chat, oh, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if there's been any studies done on the fastest spoken languages. So when I got home last night, in fact, I think a few of you commented in the group chat saying, oh, I just did a quick search and here's the answer, which I'm going to get to. You were right, by the way, with your search. But let's talk about it just in general. Are you learning a language these days? I think for me, I've never stopped learning Korean. Sometimes I'm more into it, and then other times I just kind of, I never ignore it. I don't mean that. It's just I'll put like less effort into it. But I always enjoy it. Korean is a really, really cool language. It's a hard language to master. I'm always so impressed when I see, expats on TV here in Korean, speaking in Korean very, very well. But to speak exactly like a native English speaker, and by the way, these days on TV in Korean, there are a couple of expats here that speak almost at a native level. It's almost unbelievable to me. But I enjoy learning it. It's a really cool language, and, knowing about the culture and then learning the language together is always the best way to learn it. But like I said, it's an ongoing thing. And that's the truth for many languages, no matter what you're learning. I'm sure if you're a student of the English language, you've probably been learning it since you were in elementary school, maybe, or perhaps you started even before that. When we learn language, because it's so difficult and it really is kind of a lifelong journey, it takes forever to learn. But we're not talking about learning per se here. We're talking about how quickly it's spoken. But that being said, from the learner's side, when you are learning a language for yourself and then you hear native speakers speaking that language, one of two things typically happens, right? Number one, you'll get excited because you can understand what is being said. Or number two, the native speakers are speaking at such a speed that your brain gets completely and utterly lost. And then maybe you feel a little bit depressed, or you feel like, I thought my language skills were better than this. For me, and I think this is how it is for everyone, right? When you have a conversation with someone one-on-one, that's one thing. But if you have a group situation where 3 or 4 or 5 people are speaking to each other, and then you have to follow that conversation, that's really challenging because your brain has to keep up with that. And particularly as well, those speakers are probably speaking at a native speed. So that makes it even more challenging. But that said, there are languages out there that are spoken more quickly than others. It's a tricky topic, and we're talking about the languages that sound the fast, aren't we? So in an attempt to work out the speed at which a language is spoken, it means that linguists, this is how they do it. They look at 2 different elements: speech speed, or speed of speech. They call that syllabic rate, and that means how many syllables are spoken per second. A syllable, if you're not familiar, for example, coconut. Coconut is 3 syllables. Coconut. 1, 2, 3. Those are syllables. So that's one thing that they count, the syllabic rate, how many syllables are spoken per second. And the second factor that linguists look at is information density. And what that means is how much information is coded, or how much information is delivered within 1 second. It's different from language to language. So linguists, what they do after looking at those 2 factors, they combine them to get a sense or a feel of the speed. And the general theory is that the more information that can be given per syllable, the slower the speaker, in theory, can speak. Does that make sense to you? So the more information that's given in each syllable or in a short amount of time, the speaker can speak more slowly because there's more code given there. There's more information given there. So They can give all the information they need at a slower rate. But in a different language where there is a low information density, then it takes more syllables to deliver the same message. And because it takes more syllables to deliver the same message, the speakers of that language tend to speak more quickly. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me now, but last night when I was reading it, I did have to go over it a couple of times. Now, PD, does that make sense to you? I hope so, right? Should I explain that just one last time? Okay, so the linguists, they look at two things. Syllable rate, like how many syllables do you speak per 1 second? That's one of the mathematical equations. The other side is how much information is delivered per syllable. So how much information is packed in to the little information can, if you will, in the same amount of time. If a language, English, French, Italian, Korean, whatever, if a language has a very high information density, then there's a lot of information in a limited number of syllables. So the speakers speak more slowly because they can deliver the information in a shorter amount of time. They don't need to speed up. But there are other languages where you don't have a lot of information in a small number of syllables. So it takes more syllables to speak the same amount of information, so they speak more quickly in those other languages. That's the main point here. And they've looked at some different languages and they found, oh, this one is faster than this one is slower than this one, generally speaking. So let's have a look at some different ones. Mandarin. Mandarin is considered the most widely spoken Chinese dialect, both throughout China and the entire world, and its syllabic rate is quite low, at around 0.6 syllables per second. But its information density is measured at around 9.5. Now, those numbers seem very arbitrary to you right now, right? But Mandarin is considered one of the most information-dense languages in the world, so speakers of Mandarin tend to speak quite slowly. Now, if we don't speak Mandarin at all, it's going to sound very, very fast, probably to us. But when compared to other languages around the world, Mandarin is considered one of the slower ones, excuse me. English. English is on the list. It's an Indo-European language of the West Germanic group, and it has a syllabic rate of around 0.7 syllables per second and an information density of around 9. The syllabic rate is higher than Mandarin, but the information density is a little bit lower. So English is a little quicker than Mandarin, according to the result of this specific study. German is on the list. Information density at 8. And their syllabic rate is around 0.7. So we're getting faster here, right? French, information density at 7, syllabic rate of 0.9. Even faster. Okay, let's keep going. And let's get to the number one fastest language in the world. Japanese. This is it. I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not sure. If you speak Japanese, please feel free to comment on this. But it has a syllabic rate of around 1 syllable per second and an information density of around 5. What that means is Japanese has the lowest information density of all languages. And this, coupled with a very high syllabic rate, means Japanese is one of the fastest spoken languages in the world. There's not a lot of information in Japanese syllables, so they have to speak more of them, and therefore it takes them longer, and that's to deliver the same information, and that's why they speak quicker, according to this. Japanese words, again, according to this, I have no idea, they tend to be compact. There's not a lot of syllables in Japanese words. They tend to be shorter. That's why they have a lower syllabic rate. Is that too sciencey for you? Is that a little bit annoying to listen to all that? Do you feel like you're in like some sort of language class right now? I found that to be so fascinating. So the next time you hear someone speaking Japanese, and Korean, by the way, is right up there as well. Korean is a very quickly spoken language, too. The next time you hear it, then you'll know why, right? Because they need more time to deliver the same amount of information because Japanese words tend to be rather on the short side. Their syllabic rate is quite low, and their information density is quite low as well. I found that to be quite cool, and that is our fun fact of the day. Here's Miley Cyrus, Used to Be Young. Well, we just talked about syllabic rates and information density. Ugh, even those terms sound so classroom, don't they? It sounds so educational, but still a really interesting topic. And Dohan texted in and said, you know, talking about the fact that Japanese is the fastest, if not one of the, at least one of the fastest spoken languages around the world because of its low information density and its high syllabic rate. Dohan said that's why Japanese still uses Chinese characters. There are some ways to express the city name of Tokyo in Japanese, but the letters using Chinese characters is much shorter than using other characters, the hiragana characters. Ah, interesting. I didn't know that. There's so much to learn, right? And that's kind of what I love about it. You know, even until yesterday afternoon, it didn't even occur to me to think about, oh, which languages are spoken more quickly. And then you do a little digging and you can find some really interesting information about it. Thanks for the messages, Dohan. All right. Well, on the heels of that, Let's talk about the fastest speaker in the world. His name is Sean Shannon, and he set a Guinness World Record back in 1995. And by the way, the fastest speaker in the world has changed over the years. There used to be a guy in America, and he always did TV commercials because he was known as like the fast talker. So it has changed over the years, and I thought, well, there's no real need to do a deep dive on all the different fast talkers in the world. Let's just find one and have a little bit of an example for Friday Fun Day. So let's go to Shakespeare for our example. Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet came out a long time ago. And from Hamlet, one of the famous speeches, if not the most famous speech, if not the most famous Shakespearean speech, the soliloquy, to be or not to be? That is the question. We're going to hear a clip from Kenneth Branagh's film version. Then after that, we will hear a clip from Sean Shannon, delivering the same information, but at different speeds. But let's start with Kenneth Branagh and the very dramatic, theatrical presentation.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream.
Perchance to dream, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. I had to memorize that in high school. I remember that. And I remember in high school, every other student was like this. Oh, come on, I don't want to do that. And I was like this. Woohoo! I really like Shakespeare, that's why. All right, well, that was Kenneth Branagh, the very slow, the very deliberate, to be or not to be soliloquy from Hamlet. Now, this is Sean Shannon, who, in an attempt to break the world record, did the to be or not to be speech in its entirety in a much shorter period of time. Now, the Kenneth Branagh clip that you just heard was not the entire speech, but this is from Sean Shannon.
Hi, I'm Sean Shannon, and I have the record for doing the famous to be or not to be speech, but a little quicker than that. To enter that's a question whether to know with the mind to suffer the things and hours of outrageous fortune, or take arms against to see if troubles my posing in them, to die, to sleep no more, and by sleep to say we am the heartache and 1,000 natural shocks of flesh, to dread consummate and doubly to wish, to die, to sleep, pretend dream others, to refer in that sleep death, which in the coming of shift off the mortal coldness gives pause. There's the spectrum is calamity in life. For this and constant time, press around the paramount, consume me the pangs, despise love, the loss, delay, the insults, and the spurns of patient merit that would haste me some must quest mate with a broad gun. Who would fires better got and swear that are just signed death, the endless covered country of no returns, puzzles the will, makes their brothers as we haven't found you enough. This conscious and covers it all, this native views, solution, sequel, take a star, enterprise, a great pith moment, disregard, the currents turn around, losing of action.
Do you know anybody like that? There are some fast speakers out there, but he set the world record for how quickly that was delivered. He did it in 23.8 seconds, 260 words, and that translates to 655 words a minute. He did that in August of 1995. Do we have a second clip from him? We have another clip, and he's not going to do it again. He's just going to talk about this and how it all came to be in general.
So when I first became interested in this record in 1989, I met Norris McCurder, one of the twins that's basically started the Guinness Book of Records, and he was interested in the fast-talking record. It was one that he took a particular interest in. He told me the qualities, and this, I guess, is for anybody that would like to try to break my record if you're out there. He said it's a combination of mental acuity and verbal agility. So think those things through. You'd have to have both of them to break the record, and if you do, well, go ahead and give it a try. Sometimes I get asked if there's any repercussions, any downsides to being able to talk really quickly. And I would say that if you talk so quickly that people understand what you're saying, if you lose them in the conversation because they can't understand the words you're saying, then you have to repeat everything. And that actually doesn't save a lot of time at all. Better just to go a little bit slower and get the job done. What I like about talking quickly when I'm in the mood is not so much that I've memorized some speech and I can say it really quickly. What I like is that somebody says a topic, randomly, like butterflies. You talk about butterflies really quick and what they mean to me and what they think about them in life and stuff like that. And so it gives people a buzz because they know they've made up a topic and I can actually think about the topic and talk really quickly about the topic randomly. So if somebody said, here's a topic, I'd be able to talk about it really fast because I can get it out, and people find that amusing and they usually laugh a little bit, and I'm happy to be an entertainer if that's what it is.
There you go. He's Canadian, by the way. Sean Shannon. He was, I'm not sure if he still is, but at one point he was considered the fastest talker in the world. Now, if you ask me, did you understand everything he just said right there, Steve? I would say, yeah. As a native English speaker, I was able to catch that. But the to be or not to be speech, when he was doing that, I couldn't understand what he was saying. So Neil texted in and said, I wonder what it sounds like when he is having an argument with his wife. Depends on if she's a fast talker, then their argument is probably over in about 15 seconds, I would think. Very high information density and syllabic rate for both of them, maybe. Anyway, that's Friday Fun Day. We'll listen to a song, and when we come back, we'll get to Today in Music. Here's Joe Jackson, Got the Time. That was Joe Jackson, Got the Time, and now it's time for Today in Music, where we have a look back on the calendar in this day in music history to learn what we can learn. Musically speaking, of course. It's the 10th day of November today, and we'll start in 1969. This is cute. Sesame Street debuted on American public television on the 10th of November in 1969. Many of the lessons are taught with songs, and in later seasons, musicians would drop by to help out. Stevie Wonder, James Taylor, Ray Charles, Dixie Chicks, Alicia Keys are among the many to appear on the program. The two big names that did turn down offers, though, were Bruce Springsteen and Barbra Streisand, but I don't know why they turned down Sesame Street. In 1973, born on this day, British singer Jacqui Abbott with The Beautiful South. Amongst their most successful hits during her stint with the group were Perfect 10, Don't Marry Her, and Dream a Little Dream of Me. Also in 1973, Elton John started an 8-week run at number 1 on the U.S. album chart with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. It was his best-selling studio album with worldwide sales of over 15 million copies. In 1979, Fleetwood Mac scored their second UK number 1 album with the double set Tusk. It was considered more experimental than their previous albums, partly as a consequence of Lindsey Buckingham's sparser songwriting arrangements and also the influence of post-punk. In 1983, Miranda Lambert was born on this day. She's an American country music artist who gained fame as a finalist on the 2003 season of Nashville Star. Her 5th album, Platinum, it peaked at number 1 in 2014 on the U.S. albums chart. And finally, in 1984, Shaka Khan was at number 1 on the UK singles chart with I Feel For You. It was written by Prince, and the song featured Stevie Wonder on harmonica, and the rap was done by Grandmaster Mel Mel. That is today's Today in Music. We'll listen to, I'm looking at the clock, just one song, and when we come back, maybe I'll play the other song that we were going to play during this segment. But for now, let's hear The Beautiful South, Don't Marry Her. in, but he decided to keep it in there anyway, so you can listen for that as you listen to the beginning of the song. All right, that'll do it. Any final messages to read before we finish up today? Just more comments about language and things like that. And Nur is starting a new business, so congratulations and good luck, Nur, with your new business. You said that from next week you might have a hard time tuning into the show. Well, please do pop in and say hello from time to time. That's exciting for you, though. And again, good luck with it. All right, that'll do it for Steve Hatherly Reboot for this afternoon. Thank you very much for being with me over the last couple of hours today. Hope you enjoyed the program. I know I did. Thank you to Jeff, today's Weekend Wanderer, for his segment. Thank you to you, as always, for your listenership and your participation. I've been your host, Steve Hatherly, and I'll leave you with this one today. Shaka Khan, I Feel For You. Enjoy that track. Have a great day, and we'll reboot again tomorrow.
Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan.